The next conversation we're going to have is also very, very important. We're talking about life and pregnancy. And to lead that discussion, we have our great moderator, Judge Cheryl Lynn Allen. She became the first African-American woman to be elected to the Pennsylvania Superior Court in 2007. She's a native of Pittsburgh and a former Pittsburgh public school teacher, and she's a graduate of Penn State University and the University of Pittsburgh Law School. She spent 15 years practicing law before earning a merit selection appointment to the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas in 1990. She was elected in 1991 and retained in 2001, and she's currently of counsel with the Pennsylvania Family Institute and the Independence Law Center. She also serves on the boards of the Hosanna House, the Neighborhood Academy, and is a Waynesburg University trustee. Please welcome Judge Cheryl Lynn Allen, and she'll introduce her members.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to be here today to present this valuable workshop where we're going to talk about protecting pregnancy care centers statewide. And as many of you may know, since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, actually since the opinion was leaked to the news media, pregnancy care centers have been under attack. The pro-life movement has been under attack. And we've also witnessed over the past year the defunding of Real Alternatives, a program that had been put into place by Governor Casey, who appointed me to the bench and was a strong pro-life advocate. And so we have here today two women whom I've come to know over the years. First, we have Amy Scheuring. Amy is the executive director of the Network of Life and Women's Choice Network, where the choice is life. This is a group of medical clinics serving some of Pittsburgh's neediest neighborhoods. Amy serves on the Heartbeat International President's Council and is vice president of the PA Pregnancy Wellness Collaborative. And this is a collaborative of pregnancy care centers and pro-life advocates that came together to provide support for each other in these times when pregnancy care centers are under attack. Also, we have Jill Hartman. Jill Hartman has served on the board of A Woman's Concern for over 17 years. Jill became the executive director at A Woman's Concern, which is a medical pregnancy and parenting resource center in Lancaster. And knowing that those that choose life need support, Jill is proud of the relationship cultivated, classes taught, and knowledge shared by the A Woman's Concern team to men and women through the baby's first birthday. And that's very, very important because you know the abortion advocates and industry likes to say that pregnancy care centers only care about babies while they're in the womb and not afterwards. And so here today, Amy and Jill are going to share with you some of the things that pregnancy care centers do and how vitally important to the pro-life movement and to all Pennsylvanians they are. So Amy and Jill.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start off this discussion with a question. Pregnancy care centers have been around for several decades. And in Pennsylvania, thousands of families have been impacted by these powerful local organizations. People may have some idea of what happens inside these centers, but many will be surprised at the scope and the services that you provide. So beginning with you, Jill, how about if you start out by telling us exactly what work you do at your pregnancy care center in Lancaster?
Wonderful, and thank you for having me. Just a quick show of hands, how many of you actually know what happens in a pregnancy resource center or medical center? All right. I'm kind of blessed because I'm seeing some of our local Lancaster politicians who have all visited A Woman's Concern, so thank you for all of you who've invested in learning more about what happens. A Woman's Concern was founded over 50 years ago in response to Roe versus Wade and all the conversations about that. They felt very strongly that there needed to be an immediate local support system if this issue was in front of us. So for over 50 years, we've been serving in Lancaster County, like many other pregnancy resource centers and medical centers across our great Commonwealth. What you need to know is what we look like today looks a little bit different than what it did previously. What we look like today is we are a pregnancy medical center. So we are able to be the first people that meet with many of our women when they first find out if they're pregnant and need to discern what their options and their choices are. And then, unlike what the other side wants to say, we actually at A Woman's Concern walk alongside of them up till the baby's first birthday. Many centers across the Commonwealth may look different, and they might only do education and they might only do medical, but many do both also. So we're very unique because we respond to the unique needs of our neighbors and our local communities. So what else happens at A Woman's Concern? We don't want to just save lives, we want to transform them. And we do that through the education and the relationships that we're able to cultivate. Men in the room, we invite you in. The other side has said you do not have a voice. Not only do we feel that you have a voice, we feel that you can make a huge impact in families in our local areas. Yes. And then finally, we do have one tier called Empowered Youth. Some centers across the state believe that there should be a preventative tier, so we actually can take a healthy relationship education program out to our local community, reaching our youth.
Yeah, similarly in Pittsburgh, we're serving in some of the neediest neighborhoods there. We're really happy to locate our 3 medical clinics in areas of great need. And so many of the women that we see otherwise would really have a difficult time with pregnancy. Many of them, I would say most of the clients that we see are what we call abortion vulnerable. They are making a decision about abortion, and many of them are leaning into that decision because they feel that they have no choice. As a matter of fact, that's where our name came from, Women's Choice Network. Because I was so tired of hearing women say, you know, I have to get an abortion, I have no choice. We wanted to make sure that that choice was available. So just like Jill's Center, we provide ultrasound on site, STD testing and treatment right in our centers. The first person that they're gonna see is either a nurse or an RDMS sonographer. So many times we are the first responder. We're the first person that this person in a pregnancy situation is going to see. And you know, if she would go to an emergency room, or you know, any of you that have been to a hospital or emergency room, it's kind of like treat them and street them, right? Treat them and street them. And certainly an abortion clinic, treat them and street them. And oftentimes repeat them, right? Treat them, street them, and repeat them. And we have the opposite view. We really want to see transformation happen. We want to see this woman throughout her pregnancy. We want to see her on a regular basis. We're supplementing prenatal care. And then for the first year of life and second year of life, as long as she invites us into her life. So we're able to provide, you know, what many people think of as the diapers and baby clothes. And of course we do that. But that is such a small part of the program. It's an important part, but the medical is what really changes lives and changes hearts. So when people see that ultrasound, 80 to 85% of them will choose life for their baby because they see that that's surrounded by a group that's going to support them and carry them through that pregnancy.
Thank you. Now, it appears that, and this is especially so since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, we've seen some municipalities attempt to pass ordinances to regulate pregnancy care centers. Somehow they misunderstood the case law or the reading of the law because the Supreme Court turned the issue over to the states, not the municipalities and the townships. But we've seen some municipalities attempt to regulate pregnancy care centers, calling them fake clinics, accusing them of engaging in fake or false misleading advertising, bringing harm to pregnant women. So, beginning with you, Amy, how do you address this concern?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh, our city council voted on basically to regulate pregnancy centers' advertising, and they called it fake and deceptive advertising. In addition to that, we were really hit hard right after the leak for Dobbs and through that next year with constant protesters, vandalism to our clinic, and the internet didn't treat us very well either, to be honest. But one of the things that really stands out is one of the mornings we were showing up actually with a group of women who were coming for our post-abortion care. These are women who had chosen abortion, but they were coming back for a post-abortion care group because we want to care about them no matter what decision they make. And some women have been carrying an abortion decision for years and years. So we were having this post-abortion care group for healing, and on the front door, covering our front door, was this huge sign that said, "Shut down fake clinics." And I gotta tell you, there is nothing fake about offering free ultrasound. There is nothing fake about our medical director and our nurses and RDMS staff offering STD testing and treatment inside of our center. There's nothing fake about walking alongside with a mentor throughout your pregnancy. There's nothing fake about telling this young man to get up off the sidelines into the game because we want to hear his voice. There's nothing fake about holding a child in your arms whose mom went through abortion pill reversal. I'll tell you what, there's nothing fake about these clinics. So whatever they were throwing at us at that time, we were just able to turn around and really found that there was a great support in our city and in our state.
Yeah. And Jill? At a woman's concern, call me a little naive, but the majority of people, well, all of my team members, chose to work at a woman's concern because they wanted to serve. They wanted to give back. So we were a little naive to think that it would be very controversial or we'd be attacked because you were helping somebody with an unplanned pregnancy. It just seems counterintuitive that we would be attacked. But yet, when the leak happened and all the subsequent attacks happened, it got layered on. Big tech started blocking our ability to reach her. So it was big tech. And then it was also our governor. I was really blessed. The real Bob Casey set up a program called Real Turns to Abortion over 30 years ago. And my center was one of the recipients of that funding. He unilaterally decided for our state that women and families were only going to be supported with one option, and that was abortion. So he took away the programs and services funding for my program, about $175,000. So it was real money. And then in addition to that, our Attorney General decided to, she had a complaint line. That's kind of awesome, right? A complaint line. But there was one organization you were able to complain against, and that's pregnancy centers. That's us. And you know what? You can do it anonymously, because that's really effective also. So we were quite taken back, and then we decided, you know what? We know who wins in the end. We know our hearts. We know that we're medical. We know that we're credentialed. We know that we're making impact in our local areas. And we, thank goodness to a lot of you in this room, through lots of prayer and lots of support, got strong. And we were very intentional, and directors across the state, there were 8 of us, Amy being the vice president, came up with a coalition, the Pennsylvania Pregnancy Wellness Collaborative. And therefore, now we have a united voice so that when these attacks come against us, we're stronger together.
Yes.
So the abortion pill has been in the news recently, and you're familiar with the case that the FDA, that was argued against the FDA by the attorneys for the Alliance Defending Freedom recently in the Supreme Court. But it appears that this abortion pill is the method of choice for women accounting for over 60% of all abortions in Pennsylvania at this time. How has your center addressed the rapid growth and demand for the abortion pill? And how has that changed the way you care for women considering abortion?
I think pregnancy centers have to be very nimble. We have to respond to the culture around us. And we have to stay abreast of what the needs of our clients are. So when we began to see, and this is years ago, that we began to see the abortion pill emerging as the abortion of choice. And there's a lot of misconception about what this pill is. It's actually a series of pills that a woman takes early in pregnancy. It was highly regulated when it first appeared on the scene, but those regulations largely have been lifted because of COVID, and they have not been reversed. So a woman can order these pills by mail. She never sees a doctor. In most cases, never even talks to a doctor about it. She can order the pills by mail or go to a drugstore and buy them at the drugstore. And so the first pills starve the baby of progesterone. The baby is starved to death literally because of the lack of progesterone that her body would ordinarily create. And after the baby is gone, a couple days later, she takes a second set of pills, which causes her body to expel the baby. She is by herself. She's in the bathroom of her home or her dorm room or her school. And she basically expels a baby at 10, 11, 12 weeks. It's a really gruesome experience. Most of the clients that come back after an abortion like this say that they would never go through that again and they wouldn't wish it on their worst enemy. The abortion pill, however, has gained tremendous popularity and is considered a safe alternative to childbearing, which is nuts, and based on a lot of faulty data. One of the things that we've been able to provide that is really exciting in pregnancies, in pregnancy centers across the country, is abortion pill reversal. And it is a really simple protocol where we simply reintroduce progesterone into her system. We can do that in those first early days. Just really, literally, we have hours and days to respond, and we can provide progesterone. We do an ultrasound to see if the baby is still alive. The abortion proponents call this like voodoo science. They tell us that we're experimenting on women. But I got to tell you, when you see a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, whose mom reversed her abortion 2 or 3 years ago, it is so exciting. I mean, we've seen abortion reversal over and over again work for our clients. They have beautiful, healthy babies. And this is something that I think we didn't ever expect that we would do something like this. We didn't expect that there would be a need. And I'll just say this, abortion is never the remedy. A lot of people think it's the remedy. We have to have abortion in place because we have to have it for so many weeks because it has to be there. And I got to tell you, after 40 years of working in this industry, abortion is not the remedy. In other words, say this mom, she has 2 kids at home that she's having trouble feeding and clothing. And she says, I just cannot have one more. I can't do it. I have no choice. I have to get an abortion, right? If she gets an abortion, she goes right back to that same situation. And probably within a year, she'll be pregnant again. But if you can go into that context, if you can disrupt that circumstance and change it, if you can go into her life and say, you know what, we're going to help those 2 kids. We're going to feed them. We're going to clothe them. We're going to get you in touch with services that make that happen. We're going to find ways for the community, especially the church community, to come around you and care for you. The need for abortion evaporates, and her life begins to change, and healthy habits and behaviors begin to take over. Abortion is not the remedy. If she'd had an abortion, the only thing that changed is her, and the loss of her baby's life. And it's a change that stays with her the rest of her life. So we have to do better with this. We have to recognize that abortion has not delivered on any of its promises. We were told that this would be safe and rare. We were told that this would be between a woman and her doctor. We were told that this would elevate women, that it would reduce poverty, that families would be more intact and people would be happier. None of those things have come to pass. Abortion has not delivered on any of its promises. So let's make sure that pregnancy centers are encouraged and strengthened and supported. Because you know what? That's what we do every day. We care for women every day.
Less medical oversight is not caring more. I see a lot of youth in this room, and I also see a lot of people that have been invested in what we would call the pro-life world. I'm going to ask you to take a step back, and I'm going to be asking you to be invested in learning more about what happens with the abortion pill and what happens with abortion, and very importantly, what happens with the power of the ultrasound. So I'm sorry if it's too much detail, but I'm going to indulge myself. An ultrasound does three things. Somebody takes a pregnancy test. Now at the dollar store, they can take a pregnancy test. But you guys, you don't know that they are still pregnant when they come into you unless you do an ultrasound. I'm going to tell you why. Because about 25 to 28% of pregnancies end in natural miscarriage. So if they're considering an abortion, is it not of the utmost importance to make sure that there is viability, right? So anybody, if you're looking at women's health, they should have an ultrasound to confirm that they're pregnant. Logical. Somebody opened up the day talking about normal, logic. The second thing it does is it confirms that the pregnancy is where it is expected to be, which is in the uterus and not in the fallopian tubes. I know that might only be 1%, but I think there was 4 last year at a woman's concern. If a woman takes the abortion pill and she has not had an ultrasound to confirm it's in her uterus, that abortion pill, the pain and the discomfort she had is masking what can happen with the ectopic pregnancy. This is women's health. And the third thing is, we know that the abortion pill can be effective in what it's supposed to do, which is kill the baby, in those first 10 weeks of which the pill was written and it was prescribed to be able to be effective. We know very clearly, regularly, how often women are taking that outside of medical oversight. Women don't know the first day of their last period. I'm so sorry. If we took a poll here, that would not work. And knowing the gestational age of the baby dictates how safe it is for the woman. I didn't say safe for the baby. It's never safe for the baby, but safe for the women. So this is a women's health issue. So if you want to win the conversations, if you want to be able to talk to a friend who might have a different opinion than you do, stay in this zone. This is women's health, and this is where we should all be coming together. Be more knowledgeable, be articulate, and be an advocate for women empowerment.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, that's good.
Good. So we've heard many people in the abortion industry argue that if abortion is restricted or banned, as they like to say, women will die. Especially, now we know babies will die, but especially those women who may be experiencing a pregnancy complication. So they argue that abortion is the solution when a woman has a pregnancy complication. So would you expand upon that and set the record straight?
Yeah, I think that's the value, again, of the ultrasound and early intervention. One of the things that we do is expedite prenatal care, and in situations where a woman has been, for example, taking a medication that might be contraindicated for pregnancy, or a person who has a prenatal diagnosis. And these are really difficult situations, right? These are not things that she should be figuring out by looking something up on the internet. This is something where she should be talking with a doctor. And too often, I think the abortion decision is made without helpful information and without providing significant support. So I know in Pittsburgh, we have maternal and fetal health physicians whose specialty is these kinds of issues. And that we're going to get that young woman and the father of the baby, if possible, to that doctor as soon as possible, so that they can hear all of the information that they need to hear. The other is that when there's a prenatal diagnosis, it's a really difficult thing, and there's so many terrific networks, online and in person, where people can talk with others about that situation and about what it's like to raise a child with that diagnosis. And that kind of support coming around a person, throughout the pregnancy is huge. It gives her the dignity of bearing that child all the way until its natural death. And rather than cutting that life short, it actually honors mom and baby at the same time. So I think it's a false choice, too, to say, well, we have to have abortion because of these narrow circumstances. You know, we talk about the exceptions all the time, and when you see commercials, it's always somebody who's had this really small exception to the rule. But you're going to help me understand the other 99.9% of women who simply say, I had no choice, I had to do this, and they never encountered the support or help that they needed. Because this is the vast majority of women. And these specific situations are important. We absolutely have to talk about those and provide resources for them. But that does not explain the vast number and, you know, almost complete majority of people who are choosing abortion for other reasons.
I think you answered that well. Can I just address something about the false attacks? I just want to be very clear that the pregnancy centers that I know of and the ones that we work with, I don't know any that don't have this same integrity. One of the attacks they say is we false advertise. What I would like to ask is, what makes them assume that when somebody wants to grab their phone and Google abortion pill, that they're not an intelligent woman or man that wants to learn more about that? All of our websites, all of our scripts, all of our interactions make it very clear to those seeking our services that we do not refer for or provide for abortions. But women and men in those situations deserve and have a right to have that information in front of them. The centers that we work with very much believe that people do have a choice, but we do believe they deserve an informed choice.
Right. Yeah, women deserve better. Women deserve better than being handed one choice only. They deserve better than to have the internet filter out anything but an abortion decision.
I'm going to laugh for just 1 second. I just did a training to my team the other day and kind of giving them kudos because our medical services questionnaire, 99% raving fans. We're better than I think we're better than everybody. But then I was teasing my education team. They were only at 98%. So I would like to know who these complaints are coming from, because they're certainly not coming from those that we serve.
And so, as we wrap up, what can the public do, the members of this audience do to support and help you in your work?
Want to go?
We will always take your prayers, because we know very clearly, and Judge usually tells us better because she spoke to my board and I'm like, yes, Judge, this is not a battle about just life and death. This is light and darkness. This is about goodness. This is about us providing hope. When Planned Parenthood stands beside our governor and they say that this just happened, that they are not going to stop until the pregnancy centers across our great Commonwealth don't exist, the 130-some centers that exist across this great state serving families, they're not stopping till we don't exist. There's something sad about that. And then you have to question, what's their motivation? We must be doing something right. We must be doing something right. And as Lexi shared from PA Family at just a recent conversation that we had, we talked about why. Well, they win because they don't provide any hope. They win because they're only putting women in this one little box. We provide hope. We provide support. Real choice comes with that support network.
And I think the network itself is you. It's the people in our neighborhoods. It's the people that are in the churches nearby. Because we offer a holistic program. So we're addressing their emotional state, their relationships. We're addressing their spiritual growth and development. We're talking to them about all aspects of their life, their finances, of course their health and physical, taking care of themselves physically. But you know what? That takes a lot of people. That takes a tremendous network of support, and that's why we're called the Network of Life, because it really is a network. That's where you get involved. And I would say, if you're wondering what to do to really encourage pregnancy centers, I would say schedule a tour at one. Look it up, and look it up on the internet and find the one that's closest to you, and just take a tour. Just walk through and say, what are some of your needs? Because a lot of people want to talk to us, and we want to talk to you about the ways that your skills can fit with the needs of our clients.
And so Would you agree that everyone here should share with their friends, with their family members, with their neighbors, and provide them with information concerning just what pregnancy care centers do and how vitally important they are in our community?
Yes, please be informed.
Yeah, thank you.
And have you invited your local representatives to visit your center?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have you invited Governor Shapiro?
I have. Yep. Yep. The day he attacked us and took our funding, I called him and said, I'm sure you don't have the right information that this is what you're thinking about doing or what you're saying about us. Please come. I'd be happy to enlighten you.
And I think that we should all encourage our representatives to do that. Thank you.